It'll be very autumnal. Hey guys, Robert Jones back in the kitchen today with my little friend, the Bartlett pear. Are you guys familiar with pears? I love pears. This is the Bartlett pear. It's ripe. And I'm going to be making some bread pudding for you guys today, a little autumn treat. Making bread pudding is a great way to use up old bread. I go to the bargain section of the grocery store and find some old bread, 99 cents a thing, and I chop it up and we're going to make some bread pudding. It's going to be fabulous. Doo-hoo! Alright you guys, hang with me. Let's make some bread pudding. It'll be very autumnal. Okay you guys, so we are here at the sink starting this recipe, and I thought I should tell you a little story first and explain what is going on here. So, what we have here is we have some bread that was day old at the store. I bought a few days ago. It's now turned to stone. I mean, it is hard as a rock. And I saw this and I thought, oh, this will make a good bread pudding. So I don't know about you guys, but when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot of money and nobody liked to eat the heel of the bread, but my mom didn't want to throw it away because it's food. And I totally understand that. So we would save up the heels, make a lot of noise. We would save up the heels of the bread, and every once in a while, every few weeks, we would go to the freezer and get out the bag of heels and make bread pudding. It was a great way to save the bread and make food that was cheap and good for breakfast, except when somebody would mistakenly put a piece of garlic toast or rye bread in the bag, and then you got some funky deliciousness. Alright, end of story. I think you see where this is going. So my point is, this is a good way to use up cheap stuff, make a delicious bread pudding. Of course, you can make this with fresh bread or whatever you want. I'm just showing you a way to be efficient and stretch your dollar. So we're going to make a really rustic bread pudding today. So the first thing I want to do is I have a big ass bowl here, and we're going to chop this up, and we want about 6 to 12 cups of this. I don't know how much we're going to make. I'm going to start with 6 cups of bread and see where we go from there. Alright, so cue the music, chop this stuff up. So we are making a rustic bread pudding here, and I want to use the pears. So I'm not really going to worry about taking the skins off. They're going to cook down pretty nicely. So unlike the last recipe, I'm not going to peel them. I'm just going to slice them. So let's go! We have pears. Okay, here we go with eggs, and I'm going to put in 6 eggs for this batch. So 1, 2. Okay, and to the eggs, this is a totally optional thing for those of you who might be allergic to cinnamon. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Then I'm going to use the old whisk and mix this up. Ooh, can you see the cinnamon dust? Mix this well. I'm now going to take 2 cups of milk and pop it in the microwave for a couple minutes just to warm it up. Just want it to be warm. They say to scald, as it were. So we'll be right back with some warm milk. So that's 2. We're going to put 4 total, but I'm just going to microwave the first 2. Okay, and then I'm going to take our butter, and I'm going to put the butter into the warm milk to hopefully soften it. It's room temperature, but I want to make it a little bit melted so it mixes into the eggs and such. Butter. And our butter has melted into the warm milk. Put that in there. And then 2 more cups of milk. Look at that. And then give this a good stir. This is going to become the custard base for the whole thing. You guys see that? Ta-da. It doesn't matter that there's little butter bits because they're going to totally cook into the bread. I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar, half, and another half, and a half a teaspoon of salt. And then give it a mix again. Okay, it seems really watery. Don't worry about that. It's going to get soaked up. Okay, here's our bread. It's really crispy. So I'm thinking we might have to add some extra milk, but we'll give it a try. Let's see what happens. So you just take the wet and pour it into the dry. Oh, before we do that, almost forgot. Raisins. Put in 1 cup of raisins. Now this is totally optional. You do not have to put raisins. But I love me some raisins. There you go. Raisins in the bowl. Now we're just going to pour over our mixture. Make sure your sugar gets mixed in. Then I'm just going to give this a good toss. And we're going to let it sit for a little bit because, like I said, this bread is extra crispy. So let's do this. Set this aside for a second. And now we have our lovely glass pan, our traditional 9x13 pan. And I'm just going to spray it with some cooking spray. If you'd like, you can use butter, you can use shortening, you can use vegetable oil. I'm doing this because it's done. Voila. Since our bread is so hard today, I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and we'll be right back. Okay, you guys, we let our bread soften for about 10 minutes. So if you have really crispy bread like I do, just give it a couple minutes to soften up, and it's soaked up most of the liquid. It's gotten nice and spongy. If you don't have dry bread, you can use regular bread and it'll do this faster. Okay, so then we want to put in our pears. And I'm making a huge batch. So the recipe that I'm going to put online is going to be half of this. So don't worry that this looks like too much for you. I'm doing a double batch because I got people to feed. Oh, this looks so good and it smells so good. I can smell the cinnamon and the raisins and the pears. Okay, and just give this a good mix. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just want to make sure the pears are distributed throughout, so as it cooks, the pear juice will soak into the bread as well. Okay, then you take your pan, out your pan. And we're going to try to put about half of this in the pan. You can put all of it in your pan. Well, let's see. Maybe it's going to take it all. Maybe. Maybe. Never mind. It's all fitting in. So, here's the idea. You got to smash it down because the bread is in chunks. The pears are in chunks. Give it a good smash. And try to make it even so it's going to cook evenly. Okay, now here's my trick. When you do this, make a little moat around the edge and make it a little flat on top. And that way, if there is pooling juices, they pool to the edges. And then again, go for evenness. How good does that look? So good. Okay, and then if you want, here's my little trick. I like to sprinkle just a little bit of sugar on top to give it a crusty top because it gets crunchy and delicious. Totally optional. You could dot it with butter. You could leave it alone. I just want it to be extra delicious for my guests. And boom! You're done! Alright, we're going to put this in the oven for about 1 hour. After an hour, check it with a knife or with a toothpick. About an inch or an inch and a half in. Check it. Pull it out. If it's dry, it means that the custard has set, because that's essentially what we did here. And it will be amazing. Alright, you guys. See you in an hour for deliciousness. Alright, we're on the Steadicam, and look what just came out of the oven. It looks so good. It smells so good. The whole thing in frame for you. Bread pudding. Alright, gonna let it cool for a bit, and then we'll give it a taste test. Alright, you guys, it is the moment you've been waiting for. Ooh, we have bread pudding. A big square of bread. Okay, we're gonna try this again. It's not to fall. Bread pudding with a little bit of whipped cream. You can put butter, you can put syrup, you can do whatever you want. Bread pudding. Okay, let's give it a try. It's still a little warm, but, oh, you guys, I'm gonna go for the soft part because that's my favorite part. And a bite of whipped cream. I love bread pudding. It is definitely the taste of home for me. A little crispy on top from the sugar. Got a crunchy bit back here. Let's take a big crunchy bite. Ooh, that's a really big bite. That's a really big bite. I can't do it. It's all stuck together here. All right, let's get a crunchy bit from the back. You guys, this is really easy. You could totally whip this up on a Saturday morning for your loved one, or your family, or friend, or your dog. Give this a try, you guys. It's delicious. Bye. Alright, you guys, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this bread pudding today. Give it a try. You can change the fruit, you can change the bread, you can change it all. Make it the way you want to. The biggest thing is you want to make your egg custard with your milk, soak in your bread, and bake it till it's nummy goodness. Alright, you guys, I'm Robert Jones, and you can find me everywhere as Eudaemonius or EudaemoniusMarkII, EudaemoniusMarkII. Hope to talk to you guys on Instagram, Snapchat, or Facebook. Take care. Bye. It'll be very abdominal.